guys, it's Drew again. So I've hit 200 subscribers, and I want to start off by saying thank you so much. Thank you for all those who have subbed, who watch my videos, who take the time to comment and interact with me. This community has just been absolutely fantastic, and I appreciate the relationships that I've started to build with so many of you guys. I've made some friends. I've made some very good friends to where now I've got phone calls, text threads going on, and all sorts of stuff. And I've just really enjoyed this aspect of collecting something I've never had before, and it's been really great. So for all of those who are subscribed to me, for all those new subscribers to me, thank you for joining in. I hope you like some stuff, some of the stories I've been telling, showing off different parts of my collection, just the journey that I've had from a young man up till now, and how I've gotten what I've gotten, and some of the great stories that I've had. So I wanted to do a contest because I guess that's what you're supposed to do. There's been some great contests out there recently, and I hope you have participated. I hope you watched some of these for some other great channels and other great guys out there. But what I wanted to do was something a little bit different, and something I haven't seen before, so we'll just kind of see how it goes. So one of my favorite players, as you probably know, is Ken Griffey Jr. And Ken Griffey Jr., in most conversations, we classified as one of the greatest players of all time, especially within his era. The greatest hitter at that time, stayed clean through the whole steroids thing, and just loved this game, loved the passion of the game, and just has such a massive, massive fan base out there. But of course, one of the big things that Griffey never got to do was Griffey never got to win a World Series. In fact, he never even got to go to a World Series. And it's one of those, the pinnacle of anybody that would make the major leagues, is you want to win a championship. And it's one thing to be noted as being a great or an all-time great, but it's another thing to know that you've got that ring. And then there's other guys who have been and won and not considered greats, but were on the right team at the right time to get those championships. So that's what I want to talk about. Is I want to talk about different players that got to the major leagues, which is an accomplishment on its own if you really think about it, that performed at such a high level but never got to win that World Series. Maybe they got to the World Series and every time, or the one time that they went, they lost, or maybe they never even got to go to the World Series at the end anyway. So what I want you to do is I want you to find at least three players that never won a world championship, okay? Never won a World Series. And what I want you to do is at least one of them, okay? So you can do more than three, but at least one of them has got to be not in the Hall of Fame. It's really easy, in my opinion, to find the Hall of Famers that didn't get a World Series. Ted Williams and Ty Cobb or Ken Griffey Jr., for instance. But I want you to find at least one player that was not the best of the best, maybe had a great career, maybe had an average career, but someone who you have a personal connection to, maybe someone who you like to watch play, someone who maybe played for a while and was injured and their career was cut short, or whatever it is, but someone who was not a Hall of Famer that did not go to the World Series, or not win the World Series, I apologize. And then the other two or more can be Hall of Famers, or you can have other guys not in the Hall of Fame. So at least three players did not win a World Series, and at least one of them not a Hall of Famer. So I want to show off three players I picked and cards that I have of them. And my card collection is typically fairly low grade, but still I want to talk about them, and I want to talk about why. So one of the easy ones is probably going to be mentioned a lot, but man, you just got to love the guy. You got to love his passion. You got to love his outlook in life. Great player, two-time MVP, and just the backbone of a team for so many years, but none other than Mr. Cub, Ernie Banks. And Ernie Banks, of course, being on the Cubs, didn't win a World Series. Never even went to the World Series. And it's one of those sad things, and I'm sure that he's going to be shown a lot. But this is a 1963 post Ernie Banks, and man, the smile on his face in this card, it just shows kind of his love for the game, his passion for it, and it's just a shame that he never got to experience that high level of championship. Another guy from back in the same era who unfortunately just was on the wrong teams at the wrong time, but did not get to a World Series and is not in the Hall of Fame is Rocky Clavito. So Clavito played start with the Indians and then went on to a couple of the teams, one of the biggest lopsided trades in history. Great young superstar for when he came up, but unfortunately his career didn't last the distance it needed to at the same level when he started out. but Clavito never won a World Series. Interestingly enough, in this 1959 card, you can see this is a great card of him, and there's the back of it too. But Clavito did not win a World Series, but what he did do, he was the first outfield in Major League history who never had an error for an entire season, went a whole season without an error. And I don't know how many times that's happened in history, but he was the first to do it. So great player, great hitter, superstar young stud coming up through Cleveland. But unfortunately, as he bounced around from a couple of different teams in baseball, he never got the championship. And then the final one I want to show off is more modern. He is a Hall of Famer, one of the greats that I love to watch. I loved him growing up. I loved him through my young adulthood. Superstar, great career, and reminds me a lot of Ernie Banks because he just always had a smile on his face. He always had that passion to play baseball and just to get out there and do it. And I loved he was such a thinker as a hitter, and that's the great Tony Gwynn. And this is a 1983 Fleer, Tony Gwynn, and I got to see Gwynn play a few times. In fact, the only time I ever was privileged enough to go to a postseason game was I went to a game with the Braves against the Padres when the Padres ended up going to the World Series and unfortunately getting swept by the Yankees. But I got to see Tony Gwynn in the only postseason game I got to play, or not to play, but the only postseason game I got to go see. But Tony Gwynn, of course, never won a World Series. So close, was in the World Series, but just didn't win. So that's my contest. And what I want you to do is, again, you need to be a subscriber to my channel. I want you to, somewhere in the title, put the hashtag a Vintage Legacy 200, because it's my 200 sub contest. And also, at least 3 players did not win a World Series, and at least one of those players has to be not in the Hall of Fame. So as a prize, what I'll do is I'm going to give away these 3 cards that I showed off. And so again, they're not in the greatest of shape, but still, it's just a cool little memento that some of these players made it to the majors, 2 of them in the Hall of Fame, deservedly, and still weren't able to win the big one. So that's my contest, and I'm going to go until March 31st at midnight, have all your video responses in by then. If you don't make a channel, if you don't have a channel but you still want to get in on it, post something down below in the comments and just say, what it is, and I'll figure out a way, maybe a secondary prize or something for those who don't make videos. And because I want everyone to participate, I love dialogue, whether it's on video or whether it's in the comments below. So anyway, I appreciate the time you guys had. Thank you so much for the support to get me up to 200. It's a big number for me. Some people not so much, but you know what? It's not about the numbers. It's just about making those connections and getting together with other people within this great community. So thank you so much for everybody out there. Until next time, you guys be good.